All right. Chi-Town, we should be live now. You can cue the show and you're ready. Self Love Show's running about 5 minutes behind. DJ Torin Edmond.
Copyright
Chi-Town
disclaimer
House
under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
In entering upon this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By so doing, you will be saved the trouble of trying
all the way through the show
to put, quote, new wine into old wineskins, end quote. Luke chapter 5, verse 37. If there's anything as we proceed which you don't understand or agree with, just let it lie passively in your mind until you have enjoyed the entire show. For many statements that would at first arouse antagonism and discussion will be clear and easily accepted a little farther on. After the show is over, if you wish to return to your old beliefs and ways of living, you are at perfect liberty to do so. But for the time being, be willing to become as a little child, for said the Master in spiritual things, quote, except ye become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. If at times there seems to be repetition, please remember, the Self Love Show is a lesson, not a lecture.
We are live. Let's get them in here. Self Love Show will start in 4 minutes. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the comments. Welcome to the Self Love Show.
Silence is violence, and evil's greatest ally. Those who turn a blind eye act like they don't know why. Say the police would not use such behavior. If you white, you right and have favor. But if you black, bodies pile high. Sight unseen, right in front of your face on the video screen, know what I mean? Popo lie. Fear for their life from an unarmed man. I guess he felt melanin was his weapon. They killed.
Nigga, get your hand out my pocket.
Get no charges and go free. So we need to be on our P's and Q's. Don't play no fool. The rules ain't fair. Life ain't no crystal stair. So we best prepare. Our little people, if you see something, say something.
12.
Show the world we do care. So beware. Silence is violence. Get you a trip to the devil's lair.
Self love, you done did it again, Loop. You a genius.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Yeah, buddy. Chi-Town kids are in fact in the building, and we are live. The Self Love Show. Liberation over acceptance. Big ups to all the Chi-Town kids, all our international viewers, everybody all over the greater United States and on this globe that somebody started calling Earth. And big ups to Scooter Chose for this song, Kid from Chicago, our theme song. Welcome to Chi-Town's very own, The Self Love Show, where our first motto is, on earth as it is in heaven. Fing. All praise due to the ancestors. And our second motto is, as above, so below. Right now, we can be found Malcolm exclusively right here on the YouTube channel. This ain't that network. This ain't Ms. NBC. This ain't Crime News Network or CNN. This ain't Fox for your twat or your box, whatever you want to call it. This ain't Disney. This ain't CBS. This ain't NBC. This ain't ABC. This ain't ESPN. But what this is TATN. Yeah? TATN. And we just some Chicago kids. What down? It's your co-host, 9 Mills, also known as Self Love. What down, Chi-Town. What down. Repeat after me. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. One more again. I am greater than my excuse. Today is hump day. We over the hump. Wednesday, October 6th, 2021. As always, we'd like to acknowledge, right, at 7:16 p.m. Chi-Town time, that you cats can be any place in this vast, magnanimous universe. And thankfully, somehow, some way, for some reason, we all Scooter chose to be here together. That's right. We Scooter chose to be here together. What down? Brother Wordsmith, what you manifesting today, sir?
Love. You know me. What you manifesting?
Love, brother. Nothing but pure, unfettered, often tough, but love just the same, my brother.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. What's it been like on your side of America, man, over there in the backyard of the Chi?
Well, the heat wave left, so it's cooling off.
Uh-huh.
So Blix got put up a little bit.
Yeah, your fingers get cold. You can't hold that still.
Just less people outside. I guess less blickers outside as well.
Well, all right. That's it. Yeah, Chi-Town, from the backyard of the Chi-Town. And you know what? We're running a bit late. Small ups to Booger Balls. All the friends of the show know that, that's Murphy's Law. Booger Balls Murphy is what we call them. So, but what we got today on the Self Luv Show, what you can expect, as always, we're going to have our quote of the day. And then, of course, there's a 1-minute video Self Love's going to run. Covers our More Growth and Development program. That's More Growth and Development program. And I think there's anyone alive should be able to add more growth and development to their program. Also, we run a short video called Tattoo Tyranny. Yeah. And then we'll break that down. And then we're going to unpack like a 45-second video that's going to be in our how to move or not to move segment. Okay. That's where we're going to decide, as a nation, what we should do. And then we've got the dome teaser. That's a riddle. So we'll get that going for you. And that gets answered at the end of the show. So you have to stick around, if you're not able to figure this out on your own. And then, of course, our headliner tonight, last and most definitely not least, is DJ Torin Edmonds. And he's DJ'd. I mean, we can go on, but I mean, some stuff that some cats who may not be big house people, you've heard of the Chosen Few. If you've not, you've probably been incarcerated the last 25 years or in a coma. So the Chosen Few House Picnic, he's DJ'd there. And also I know he's over at Pier 31, and we're going to unpack more of, what he's doing now during the show. Dope DJ, this is number 8 on our Chi-Town house music series. I know he's worked with Steve Silk Hurley, my big cousin. So this is number 8. We're working to get Steve on the show. That's coming. So next week's, we're going to move that into next week's sneak peek, tell you what we got coming for you next week. It's a really, really great show, And then, of course, my favorite part of the whole shebang, and that's where my brother Wordsmith, he gives his final words where he summarizes or wraps up the entire show's topic into a nice little metaphysical, poetic bun for you. So that's what we got. But first, we're going to jump into the announcements. What say ye, Self? Any announcements, bro?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Far and wide, let's get this information out to the Self Luv Nation. Let's expand it.
Facts. Hey, make sure you share this with DJ Big Wheel and Jay Grilla. All right, and then big ups to that. On my announcement sides, all I got is Mouthpiece Included, Spolitics, and that's our Spolitics show. That's a fusion of sports and politics. We lean heavy on the politics side, depending on the topic. Tomorrow's show is the curious case of the NBA superstar Russell Westbrook et al. And that'll be the other men dressing in drag. We're going to unpack this. And then, if you're fluid, whatever, but we're going to unpack it. So watch the show tomorrow. That's going to be Thursday right here on TATN at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then we got the University of Illinois homecoming coming up down there in Champaign-Urbana. Self, do you know those dates, and do you know who they're playing? Do you care? Does anyone care?
I know it's the 9th.
Okay. Big ups on the 9th. You going, bro?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you ought to go. You're already paid into it. I mean, you know what I mean? Go, man. Take somebody to the game you might know in Champaign or something. You know what I mean? Nice little gift or something or another. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had another ticket. I'd have thrown it at you, but your ship's got it. So it's the 9th. Do you know who they're playing?
No.
All right, well, you know, it doesn't matter. We'll probably lose anyway. All right, so all hail what used to be known as, formerly known as the Chief. So let's get down there. If you're in Illini, Self said that's going to be October 9th. And then we were going to go over our tier system. We just need you to subscribe. There's no time to go over the tiers because we got a late start.
It's Wisconsin we're playing.
The Badgers. That's a man. Wow. Got a Big Ten games out there. Look at them. They're ballsy. Who signed up Wisconsin for the homecoming game to lose their job?
Yeah, they decided that the homecoming game was going to be during the course of this year already. So, you know what I mean? They just decided, just made up. That's going to be the 9th. So
it didn't matter who it was, huh? Could have been Alabama coming to town, huh? That'd be a great game, though. Losing in, losing. You know what I mean? You'd be done by the second quarter. But big ups to the Illini, and we hope they do well because, you know, we had one of their ex-players said on the show, right? So
that's right.
That's right. So big ups. We don't. That's right. That's right, brother Stallings. We don't want to get too reckless out here. So any house heads, any non-house heads who just enjoy house music, because we know that's a charged term these days. Any DJs, anyone, you know, who's been in the game, you know, put it in the chat. The algorithm likes to chat, and so does both co-hosts. Put it in the chat. Let us know what city or state you're hailing from, and I'll throw it to Self Love so he can handle his BI.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, share, save. It all helps the algorithm, and it will help us grow for the low cost of free 99. We're doing this organically, and we need your help. So please share it with some like minds. If y'all are here, you all know some people that would like this information. And as always, we're going to have a very important video, the more growth and development platform that we are building this off of. But before that, we have the Self Love Show quote of the day. House music isn't black or white. It just is. It feels good and it feels right. Once again, house music isn't white or black. It just is. It feels good and it feels right. Frankie Knuckles. And stay tuned for this video, and we'll be right back at you. Silverback More Growth and Development Platform. Number 1, repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silver back. Number 2, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. And 3, show an accurate depiction of African-American Chi-Town. 4, to shine a light on positive influences. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless. 9, close the gap between us and our pink kinsmen.
Closing the gap. Yeah. Closing the gap. You gotta get that financial gap closed there, huh, Self Love?
Absolutely. It's a must.
Absolutely.
We know it ain't because of us. It's systematically put in place. It has to systematically, or dramatically be taken down.
Facts. Flesh, I'll say. I'll take that a step above facts, because those facts are becoming flesh as we speak. So, well said, Self Love. Well said. So, you guys, again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let's get them in the building. And if you didn't catch last week's show, it was entitled Marcus Garvey, Prophetic or Pathetic. We're not going to tell you what we concluded. You know, there's been some hubbub. Was he a spook? Was he in the CIA? Was he this, that, and the other? You know, was he a subversive? I mean, he did get, deported, for God's sakes. So, yeah, if you want to see that, just do a Google search, or you can search on the YouTube search engine. You can do TATN and Marcus Garvey, and that's going to come right up. What say ye, Self Love?
Man, expansive show. I learned some things. I knew more than I thought I did, and I learned a lot every show. That's why we got to get this information out to the Self Love Nation.
Facts. It's all edutainment, people. You know, if you're not entertained by our, hubbub, you're going to be educated, right?
Facts.
And if you know all the stuff, you may be what? Entertained. And if none of that's applicable ever, and all this content we're putting out there, you may either be smelling your own farts, A, right? B, you may have to get yourself a big cup of what? STFU. Yeah. C, just might not be for you, because everything ain't for
everybody. So.
That's right. My OGs always told me that coming up, everything ain't for everybody. And then they would pull the drugs away and tell me to go away. Facts. All right, so big ups to the OGs. All right, here we go. So Self, I want to just back to the show. I know you stay pretty unplugged, but did you see CPS right there in your backyard, Self Love? You know, we're big on education. Your family's been big on education as well.
Facts.
They changed the quarantine rules out there for Peter Pandemic. I think Peter Pandemic is a boy and wants to go to school. The Peter Pan. Yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, Peter Pan has a corona. You guys keep up with us. I know you're unplugged, so big ups to production. There you go. Self
Hiring
Love,
teenage
tattoo tyranny.
Yeah, that's definitely what that is.
Interesting, not to belabor it because we're a bit late, but 5 to 11-year-olds now, they're saying, are susceptible to dying from the pandemic, like they don't have enough natural. Is that what we're hearing? Why are they in school at all? I mean, my God. No? All right.
I can't.
I mean, I don't have kids, so. Yeah. I mean, man, if that was, I wouldn't send my kid anywhere. If I had a kid, they wouldn't leave the house. You can't expect a kid to keep a mask on and protect. Wow, I would be so afraid and scared.
And all day.
Yeah. Ooh, get your Pfizer and you get your Moderna. But big ups to the 70% and all those who make their decisions. That's right for them. Everyone who knows my stance, and no need to go on and on, right? Self Love.
Facts.
Okay. So so that was our tattoo tyranny. But now we're going to jump into our how to move segment. So big ups to production. It's only 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Hiring teenagers might help the nationwide truck driver shortage, but you generally don't see them behind the wheel of a big rig. Now that's changing.
They trying to kill y'all
This
kids.
is not your typical truck driver.
I just turned 17.
That's right. Isabella is just 17 and driving an 18-wheeler.
Who's going out there on the
Look,
road?
her feet barely reach the pedal. But she's not alone. Teens are coming to the rescue of the nationwide trucking shortage.
You'll see.
I am 16 still, and I do not have a license.
At Patterson High School in California, these teens are enrolled in one of the first truck driving programs for high schoolers in the U.S. Instructor Dave Dines.
There's a huge need. We're short about 63,000 drivers today.
Isabella says her mom is a little worried.
My mom was more nervous overall because the idea of truck driving scares her because of all the reckless drivers in the road.
Man, she's getting a hands-on lesson in truck maintenance and safety.
Yep. And if it was flat, you'd feel like it would be like a dud. It would just, the hammer wouldn't react very much. And that would be an indication of a flat
She's
tire.
going to change the tire.
To prepare them for the real road, they spend 30 hours in a driving simulator.
Grab the shifter and make sure it goes back and forth.
With no end to the trucking crisis in sight, it's teens to the rescue.
Well, I mean, according to Kwame Brown, we got to get them back in trades. But I'm going to ask you the central question. And I mean, everybody's kid is different. Every child is different.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah.
I'd much rather see a kid doing that than sticking a blick in somebody's face, maybe.
Absolutely. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, Self, because I've known grown men.
Yeah.
Who won't do that again ever in life.
Yeah.
I'm saying they've had situations occur on the road.
Yeah.
Whether it's behind the wheel or not.
Yeah.
And they won't do it again. Grown men.
Yeah.
Do those kids have enough experience in life to be traveling across country by themselves with God knows in the back of the truck?
Absolutely not.
Hey, kid, come here. What you got in your truck?
They're gonna be local. They gotta keep them local.
You have to keep them local for the first 5 years or so, and something. Yeah, I hear you.
Something. I don't know how long that is or what it is.
Well, that's great thinking. I'm sure they haven't thought of that, Self. That's why we do that here on the Self Luv Show. They didn't mention anything about just keeping the kids local or anything like that. But that's All right. Maybe you send them out together, 2 teens instead of 1. That may be a worse idea. It'd be partying.
Simulator. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a bad idea in my opinion. It's how not to move. But hey, that's just what do you guys say in the chat? Is it how to move or how not to move? We'd love to hear from you. So enough blah blah. I don't think they're here from us, huh, Self?
Nope, I don't think so either.
So enough of the appetizers out. Yeah.
Let's quench the self-love nation's thirst.
All right. Well, before we quench the thirst, we're going to quench it with the dome teaser. That's the riddle. What is at the end of the rainbow, Self? That's your riddle. And anybody, if you know it, type the answer in there. Self, you got a thumbs up? Self Love's got a thumbs up. He's got an immediate thumbs up. So if you know the answer to that dome teaser or riddle, what's at the end of the rainbow? Type in your answer and we'll cover the answer at the end because, your brain is a muscle and the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. So if production can please get everything going on our end, we could go ahead and, let's get this brother in the cream room first. Yeah. So, if you can work your magic backstage. So for everybody out here, like, share, subscribe. Self Love and I will tell you right now, this is a movement. If you don't understand what a movement is, I suggest you sit down on the toilet, take yourself a big number 2, you look around at the poo you left down there in the toilet. That's a movement. All right. So, and it's funky. So that's what we do. But okay. All right. Well, we've got the guest in the cream room, thank God, because I think this is gonna get way okay. We got him in the cream room. Okay, good brother. We got you. You know what I mean? Nobody ever knows the details when the government's involved, but we'll move on. But next week, Self, we're back to our Chicago house music series. Yeah,
sir.
And we got DJ Torin Edmond.
Man, that's huge. We went to high
He's
school
the resident.
together.
He's in the building.
We went right to the Leo high school
And
together
college.
out there, and college. You know, he graduated a couple years for it. I did.
So he's a resident DJ. We're on 30 at the beach. He does a lot over there, right?
Yeah, the pier.
Yeah, Pier 35 or 31.
31st.
Yeah, Pier 31. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a system. He's not only there. He's got a vast assortment of dates, and he's always spinning.
Yeah. And we had a lot of cats come on the show in the house series, and and they praise his name as far as his skills on the tables, and his knowledge of history of house music as well, huh?
Facts. He's an excellent brother. He did a lot of the parties when he was at U of I.
Yeah, he did. He was beating it. If it wasn't Tim, especially after Tim left, he was. Yeah. So, big ups. So we're looking forward to that. I'm gonna turn it over to my guy for my personal favorite part of the entire show, which is Wordsmith's final words out there.
Do you still have them?
Yeah, buddy, I still got mines and pick up some production. So we got waiting patiently in the cream room. Kill that, please. We got DJ Torin Edmond. He's an integral part of the Chicago house music scene. He's been at least since the 90s, 80s, but as far as DJing, since the 90s. As a DJ, he skillfully builds sets using an audio alchemy of sound, feeling, connection, and artistry that consistently moves dance floors. This was an excerpt from Time Warp, New York, Brooklyn. It was a bio done on this brother, and I thought it was pretty well done. It says here in the 90s, production and remix experiences with Steve Silk Hurley. What up, cuz? Including a remix for Janet Jackson's hit Runaway, helped to further shape Torrin's skill set. Himself, Janet Jackson, huh? Yeah, he also realized a dream of having his edits of popular songs played nationally on the Tom Joyner, big ups Tom Joyner, morning show. Torrin continues creating and remixing music on his own, so that's from that. Several headliner guest appearances, stellar reputation, which we've heard about ad nauseum, led to a shared residency at Chant with chosen few DJ Alan King back since 2012. He continues to curate sets with some of Chi-Town's most well-known and loved DJs. He also enjoys, he also opened in 2014 for the Chosen Few Picnic, which welcomed an estimated over 40,000 house heads. Now, there's some people out here who would prefer I say house devotees, but, we're just going to troll a bit. He garnered more fans and deepened his commitment to sharing this amazing music with even more audiences. We can go on and on. I know he's at Pier 31 right now, and we have some other active things that he's plugging that we're going to get into. But artist, great human being, quality black man coming to the table. And we're really honored that he decided to sit with us. Leo grad, University of Illinois. Let's get him in the building. And you guys join us in welcoming DJ Torin Edmond. That's DJ Torin Edmond is in the building as we get him ready to roll. And Self Love, you go ahead and
As soon as he comes in.
Yeah, he's in. So go ahead, bro.
Brother, thank you so much, man. Great appreciation. Much love, honor, respect. Can you hear me? You're very low. Oh, you want to listen through the computer and cut that YouTube off in the background because it's a delay.
Yeah, Torren. Don't watch it through YouTube. You want to watch it directly through Zoom, probably.
Yeah.
All right. How's that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We hear you. It's just
You're
coming
very,
through.
very low.
Is your mic on? It doesn't sound like your mic's on, Torren.
Yeah, it's on. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it set up for my mic.
Say something now.
1 2 1 2 1 2. Here we go. Hang on. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can
It's
turn
coming
it
up a little. Yeah. Whatever you were doing, it sounded like it was coming up.
He's leaning into it.
Turn it up. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, it's not letting me adjust it. So is that better if I'm close to it?
Yeah, you have to be close to it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we can hear you fine. Go ahead, Self Love. Do your thing, and we'll make it do what it do.
Thank you, brother, so much for doing this. I'm looking forward to this conversation ever since I, asked you to come on. I realized that this is going to expand the Self Love Nation and bring about a more historical record for the house scene. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. How's the audio? Is it a little better?
It's a little better. Okay. If you could bring that towards you a little bit more instead of.
All right. How's that?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Torren, I want to reiterate that thanks a bunch, brother, for joining the Give Back gang. I just want to kind of tell you what we're about. Part of what we do, bro, is we don't see a lot of us. And if our cameras go off, that just means you're getting a different close up. So we can be off camera like Tori just did, and you're just the only one on. But how we see this, bro, is conceivably your kids or your kids, we'll get this data into the cloud, about, for instance, today it's about house music and house culture, so that at least our voices are being heard, straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, into perpetuity, as opposed to the rewriters of history. And for those who are out there, we have a house DJ Torin Edmond in the building. I know he's, now is this in Detroit, 2905 Beaufait, Detroit, Interstate 94, Saturday, October 9th. That's Saturday, huh?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, so from Chicago to Detroit, performances by Rick Wilhite, Dwayne Powell, Bruce Bailey, Steve Maxwell, Alton Miller, Torren Edmond, Tom T, Randall Dean, and DJ Righteous. So can you kind of tell us what they can expect when they get down to the D for this great show?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that it boasts is 12 hours of house music nonstop. So you got some of the premier DJs between Chicago and Detroit, and we're all coming together for 12 hours of nonstop house music in Detroit. It's a beautiful location, and as many of you that can come out and join us there, that'd be great. But I'm really looking forward to it. Rick Wilhite, Dwayne Powell, as you all stated, Steve Maxwell, Randall Dean, a lot of heavy hitters there. From both Chicago and New York and Detroit. So just excited about that.
Yes, sir. And then your sound check, Torren Edmonds, Sound Sanctuary Music. So is this every Friday? Looks like 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Chicago time, 11 p.m. in New York. That's at twitch.tv /Torren Edmond, right?
Yeah. so you can just literally go on Twitch and search Torren Edmond. I think I'm the only Torren Edmond on on Twitch. But
Okay.
we're doing that right now once a month. So it's every first Friday. So it's first Fridays, and I really kind of let loose when I play on Twitch, right? So I look at it as kind of what you see right now. You're in my house. So
Man.
when you come on to the
Bro, you
on
was
Twitch,
beating it, man. I'm sorry for jacking
it's all right.
because I pulled some of your thing from Twitch and didn't ask you, but I was like, man, yeah. You was in your own zone, man.
So yeah, I just kind of I do a combination of classics and new music, and really some experimenting too. So people get a chance to hear a little bit of everything, but primarily the new deep soulful Afro. We just kind of go around the world with it, and folks have a really good time, and I do too.
And then last, certainly not least, Flowers. And this is Pier 31. Self Love has made a post on Greater Beta TV. We're on Marco Polo, all the guys. Okay. And he'll be up there. And I think Brother Newman might have been there once or twice, and it's just going down up there. So you're, I guess, hosting the Summer House Series, and that's Chicago 2021. Nick Nonstop, Torren Edmond, and then I guess, so I suppose you'd have like random DJs?
Yeah. So I do want to take a step back. So when we talk about the Detroit party, it's hosted by Rhonda Flowers. So, folks who are from Chicago and excuse me, other places as well. I mean, she's a well-known, legendary promoter on the Chicago scene. So she's one of the promoters of this event. So talking about Summer House Series, that is an event that we've been putting on for, I want to say, almost 6 or 7 years now. At Pier 31. It's hosted by myself, Nick Nonstop, and Rhonda Flowers. And every week we go out there to the beach and we play house music, and we invite all of our guests. We invite guest DJs every week to come and join us. And we've really had some extraordinary nights over the last summer. So it's over for the season because it's, we're into fall and things are getting a little chilly. But it's just been incredible. I mean, we've had, folks from, like Lori Branch, legendary, pioneer woman DJ. We've had Vic Lavender. We've had so many, incredible guests, which helped make the night just really special. And another thing I think just helped make it extra special this year is because we had the pandemic. So last year there was no, party at the pier. There was no Summer House Series, but when it came back this year, I gotta say it's probably 1,000 people out there every week. And the most important thing I think about it, in addition to having just a wonderful time and an incredible experience, is that it's been peaceful. We had no incidents, like 0 incidents, and it was just just incredible, and I think it was the best one that we've had in the history of doing Summer House Series. So it's been great.
It's funny you mentioned that, and I think you mentioned one of those ladies' names you mentioned. Did she go to U of I? But anyway, you mentioned how peaceful it is, and that was always the house vibe with the true house people, with that house culture. It was always about the music, the dancing, the vibe. You always had you could have another element that would show up, but the house people weren't about that. So, when you say peaceful, it's great to hear that, obviously as full grown adults, people are still, pushing that piece through.
Yeah. I mean, I think even this past summer, there were folks, to your point, who they didn't really know about the house music. They just knew there were a bunch of us down at Pier 31 and how awesome it was. So some of those folks got an introduction to house music. And then even in some instances, you'd hear folks playing their own music off to the side and things like that. I mean, it was just a incredible happening. I mean, it was a massive gathering. People would have their food and their little pop-ups, and it just the boaters would come by, and come hang out. The bikers, it was just amazing. I wish it could have continued a little bit longer, but the weather just takes us out ultimately.
I see that as just being just huge. People coming from all over the world because that location is just magnificent. Most cats don't even know that lakefront exists like that if you're not from Chicago. You know, it's like, for instance, you can plan something annually where my wife and I would literally jump on a plane, you know, for that event, you know, because of the ambiance and everything else. It's in the city. Maybe tie it to Chosen Few. I don't want to give you all my ideas for the free, but let's jump into this, Torren. Real quick.
One last thing. Sorry,
Go ahead, bro.
I do want to give a shout out to the staff at Pier 31. Black-owned business, and they host us and allow us to do what we do. So shout out to Pier 31 and Nikki Hayes.
Yes, I'm glad you did that too. I was going to get into that. Man, that's black-owned business. That's big ups. Self, you know, we talk about reparations on the show. We'll talk about this more next week. There was a case, man, with this black family here in Cali, bro, in the Huntington Beach area. And they've been fighting this, and the governor finally decided that they own this property. It's right in LA County, right on the ocean, like 100 acres.
Yeah.
And so the KKK stole the property from them, you know, and then used eminent domain and all of this and that, and then wrote a law that said they can't purchase property on that ocean. Long story short, the governor said they're giving them their money back, and now they have to pay rent. Now, this is a conspiracy theory in me. Do you think it's an accident that the beach is now ruined?
Wow.
I mean, it was literally the same time. I don't know. But I said we're off topic. All right, so back to house music. House music. All right. That's just the way my mind has always worked. So, you know, it's hard for me to keep a job with, you know, pink people. All right, but here we go. When did you discover house music? You know, growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I discovered it in its infancy, along with a lot of other folks in the '80s. Just as a young kid and listening to the radio, and you know, just caught the bug, just like a lot of us. Too young to really get into the club, so the radio was my outlet at that time. So you had, you know, of course, the Hot Mix 5, and I think it was WBMX back then.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my entree, I guess, into my introduction into house music, and yeah, it just kind of went from there.
So it was mainly, so like for me, you know, I had an older brother, you know, who was tied into, you know, with other people. So for you, it was just organic coming through the radio, like BMX, HBK, KKC, and all of that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, starting out, I guess it was really BMX. I mean, they were the primary outlet, you know, for house music, and yeah, certainly, you know, along the way, you got the KKC, and you know, the other radio stations started to pick up on it as well. But you know, certainly the '80s, right? The '80s, early '80s for me. Is where it started, and then throughout high school, going to all of the high school parties. You know, one school in particular, Whitney Young, would have the Hot Mix 5. Some other schools would have different DJs, and that was a way for somebody like me who was too young to go to the clubs, like the Warehouse and some of the other places that, you know, we know about from a historical perspective. For me to get a real taste of what that was like, you know, in terms of, you know, just being a part of the scene and actually experiencing what folks in the clubs were able to experience.
Okay, so piggybacking on that, obviously you're DJing. So before you, I know, for instance, you know, my brother, using him as an example, I think, pretty sure, yeah, it was house that got him into DJing. It got him into DJing, you know. So I'm wondering with you, were you already into music and stuff, and then you say, man, I'm gonna shift over into the house genre, and then if that happened, or once you got into DJ and house, when did you know you would be doing that for life, bro?
You know, it's interesting. I don't think I ever thought about it as something that I would do for life. It was just something that you know, caught my attention, and you know, once I saw what folks were doing with it, with the turntables and that, you know, again, the high school parties early on, it really, you know, made me want to learn how to do it. It's like, hey, I want to do that. You know, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to get some turntables. I need to, get some equipment. And like a lot of young kids at that time who wanted to DJ that didn't have enough money to buy equipment, you kind of pieced together what you could to make it happen. And I did the same thing. I had a used turntable, and I would play music on it until I got enough money to get another piece of equipment, which was actually a cassette player. And I took the music that I would play on my turntable and record it to cassette and start mixing back and forth between the turntable and the cassette. And that was sort of my first experience with like really trying to mix. I mean, the turntable didn't even have a pitch control on it. So, that just shows you, how excited I was about the opportunity to be able to kind of to do some of that. And it just kind of grew from there. That's a whole nother part of the story.
Yeah, you and like the other DJ stuff, they make it all seem so easy. I had, for me, my brothers, by the time I was coming up and, they had 1200s or whatever they had, trying to think they had all the mixers and all the records and stuff. I'd get on the tables and it sounded like Atari 2600 Pac-Man. Down, 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 down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my brother.
I was in heaven when I got my first turntables that had a pitch. And they were still, the cheap little turntables. You had to put plastic on the platter so you could try to do all the tricks and everything. And, that's kind of what it was. It was like you started trying to figure out how to do the tricks. I didn't even have a mixer. I had some Radio Shack cheap kind of mixer, and was still trying to do all that stuff.
Tandy. It was I think it was called a Tandy. Everyone, the fader wasn't this way. It went up and down. Yeah. That was everybody's typical first one. Yeah.
Yeah. My brother got 1200s in 84. He went to New York and came back with some 1200s. I was like, where you get the hoes from? He's like, oh, these are the best right here. These, man, he still got them to this day.
Yeah. Probably worth something too. Knowing him, he kept him in great shape. So, all right, well, let's push past that, and big ups to your brother Jazzy. He's a friend of the show. He actually sat with us if the show hadn't been deleted. But we ask all of our guests this, whether they're DJs or just quote unquote house heads or, dancers, just part of the culture. What is house? And that's not house music. So it's a two-part question. If you could break down what is house, and then also unpack what is house music. And there's no right or wrong answer. This is to you.
Yeah, I mean, that question there's a lot to that question. But, folks will really talk about the history of house. They talk about, some of the, legendary clubs that we hear about. One in particular called the Warehouse. Where Frankie Knuckles was one of the DJs there, who kind of put it on the map. And that's some of the talk about where the name came from. But, at that time, it was disco music. And so we all know about the Demolition Derby that happened at the Comiskey Park.
Disco sucks, and they blew up all the records. Yeah.
And, I think house music was really part of what caused the resurgence of that genre. So I think from that perspective, that's kind of where it started. And then from there, it was really the electronic music that kind of caused it to become its own genre. Right. So you talk about, the one song that folks talk about know most is Jesse Saunders' On and On.
Yeah.
As sort of they, have that's technically considered, the first house music song. It was a sample with drum machine underneath it. And that's just kind of where it took off from there.
Okay, that was extremely thorough. You brought up that the Warehouse. Not many, we get a lot of talk about the box on here, which I'm sure we'll talk about. I heard that somewhere when you said the Warehouse. I haven't heard it mentioned in our series that was the origin of the term house, but I did hear that somewhere. Someone did slip that into my knowledge base, and I appreciate you bringing that out. Who, in your mind, Now we make a distinction between the greatest of all time as far as DJs. So that's not what we're asking for here. We're asking you, who is the godfather of house?
Well, one thing is, I don't necessarily consider myself a house music historian, right? So there have been,
That's fair.
many documentaries out there on the history of house that do a really good job, a way better job of explaining it than I can.
All right. All right.
But, when we talk about the Godfather, was that it?
Yeah, the Godfather. I know Frankie. They got the road downtown's called, Godfather Way or something. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when from that perspective, you really it really Frankie Knuckles was considered the Godfather of house. And certainly there were many other great DJs out there, but historically Frankie Knuckles was considered the Godfather of house, and of course it'll be up for debate in many circles. Ron Hardy certainly left his mark on house music history as well as many others. Too many to mention.
Well, that's fair enough. If somebody came by, the aliens were looking at this like 20 years from now, they'd have something to go by. You mentioned Hardy and you mentioned Knuckles, and so it's fair enough. Excluding Hardy and Knuckles, name 3 DJs, dead or alive, that DJ Torin Edmond would pay your hard-earned money to sit and hear them play.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know if I could name 3 out of the gate. One that I think I would, from a historical perspective and not having had the opportunity to experience, would be Larry Levan, out of New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And the influence that he had
Mm-hmm.
on the industry, and the genre even.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, I mean, really, there's just so many great DJs out there. It's kind of hard to say, any 1, 2, or 3. There are many that I would pay to see, out there on the scene.
All right. I think one of the DJs mentioned you.
What's that?
I think one of our DJs mentioned Torren when asked that question.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's been a long road and a lot of hard work and dedication to get to where I am, and I'm still nowhere near where I'd like to be.
Yeah, but see, they talk that hard, long road stuff, Self. He was beating that SHIT in the short road. You know what I mean? And that, you know what I mean, Self? Like Michael Jordan got on the court and he had a wiggle. Tori, you had a wiggle your first day at MP. It was a long road to which you were your last day at MP. So I know what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? The refinement. Yeah. Okay, let's jump on, move forward. What was the had you ever been to the Music Box? I should ask you.
No,
Okay.
I never did, and that was the thing. You'll hear a lot of stories about people saying that that they were teenagers, young teenagers,
8 years old going to the box. Go ahead.
going
Yeah.
to various venues, etc. I mean, I didn't do that. My first experience with sort of that level of club. And I'll say, I mean, for me, Frankie Knuckles was, very influential in terms of, my, growth and my understanding as it relates to music, just hearing all the different DJs from the Hot Mix 5, and not really being able to go to the clubs to Frankie Knuckles, and then hearing tapes of Ron Hardy because I was, again, too young to go to the Music Box. But I had an opportunity to hear Frankie Knuckles, and people will talk about the legendary parties at Mendel Catholic High School back in the day. And that was one of my, in Chicago, that was one of my first
111th. I've been there.
Yeah, that was my first opportunity to hear him live. And it was just, it was an incredible experience. It took me from, all the scratching and hot mixing that I heard on the radio to a different way to present music, really. because there wasn't all that scratching. It was just one tremendous song after the next, and it just was the beat was relentless. And from there, Frankie was at the power plant from the warehouse. Again, too young to go there, but he also was a resident DJ at a club called COD on the north side of Chicago. So at that time,
Okay.
when I was of age and was able to go to clubs, that's kind of where that's where I was going. So again, very very influential. Um, so that's kind of for me, wherever that kind of music was happening, and that's where I was going. So you think about all the different songs that came out of that, working with Jamie Principle and Your Love and Baby Wants to Ride, and you were getting a lot of that
Oh,
and then
man.
some at those clubs. So yeah, that was it for me. I can't talk. I can't speak to the music box because I didn't go. But of course, you see the videos and all the folks who did. It was something special.
So just off your experience, because we're about lessons, not lectures. That's why we bring cats on like you. Like I could sit here and talk about DJing, and that would be a lecture because I can't do it. So if a time traveler wanted to know where to party at, what was a great set that you experienced? Maybe mention one or two. It could be current or in the past.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a great a great question. I think again, it's been many experiences for me.
Hmm.
Certainly in Chicago, some of the legendary clubs where we've had folks who have done a lot. I've traveled to New York and gone to clubs there, New Jersey. Tony Humphreys is a
Hmm.
legendary DJ. So just many opportunities to go to a lot of sort of just incredible events where if you weren't there that night you missed it and had to hear about it later and you regretted it. So um, just a ton. I mean, in Chicago, I mean we've had so many clubs, and there's a resurgence now of even some of the underground clubs. So there's a few underground clubs here that are doing some big things, and bringing in talent from other parts of the world. So just lots of opportunities now, then and now, to really hear some good music. Smart Bar, they brought in like Louis Vega and others like that, and it's just always an incredible experience.
Big ups, big ups. Glad you mentioned Frankie. We had Frankie in our quote of the day. So that concludes the first segment of questions. Self Love, unless you had something, man, we could jump into the second.
Segment?
Yeah, that was just the first segment, man. that was just an appetizer.
No, we got
All
to
right.
push on to the next segment. It pretty much encompassed everything for now.
No, that's good.
What was it like, bro? When how'd you feel? How did it make you feel when house music hopped on the flight, crossed the pond, so to speak? When it went international.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was still pretty young when you started hearing about, some of the DJs who, were making noise overseas and their songs going to the top of the charts, internationally. I mean, looking back from it, at that time, I'm not sure I really understood, the magnitude of what was happening, but
Nor did I.
yeah, but you look back on it, and it's really what started the globalization of the genre.
Yep.
So had the folks overseas not picked up on it, who knows, right? But it really caused helped it. It was an explosion at that point. When you start hearing that house music was at the top of the charts in Europe and London. So I think it caused the caused it to become a globally accepted genre.
All right. Now, Here's a question as I look at it, it's probably more geared for people like me as opposed to someone in your position, but I think it would be still kind of interesting for you, seeing as how A, you're here, and B, you're a DJ. So what, quote, end quote, killed house music's allure in Chicago? And let me just give a little background for context for anyone out there. House music, came on like gangbusters. It was all the rave. I mean, every college was doing it. I mean, once you get there, man, like colleges, everywhere, like he mentioned, different high schools had DJs and stuff. So what do you think led to what it didn't kill it because it's still here, and that's why I say quote unquote, but what do you think led to its demise, so to speak, if you will? And I'll answer it after you.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I didn't recognize it because I was immersed in it. So
right.
Whatever else was happening outside of that was really kind of I wasn't really in tune with it. So I'm not sure about the demise of it or the fact that it was
right, because it never died. Right.
You had hip hop. Hip hop came along, and it started to emerge as a dominant genre, and you just had folks who were more into hip hop, and those folks who were still into house music continue to follow. I don't think that there was anything that killed it.
That's fair, and that was what I was gonna say. Yeah, it was hip hop for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that transition. Being in school and DJing, and the younger kids
You remember?
along, and the parties were transitioning to hip hop.
First, it would just be one or two hip hop songs a night, and then 3, 4, and then it was half and half, and then it was this party doesn't even mix anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. So let's fill in the blank, and the hot mix. I'm saying that right because I was saying house mix. The hot mix 5 were
Farley, Kenny Jam and Jason, Mickey Mix and Oliver, Ralphie Rosario, Scott Smoking Seals.
Scott Smoking Seals. All right. Okay. Those are the highest, absolute highest vibrations.
So, do something charitable for an enemy.